Don't forget to subscribe for more. What happened next at the Junction? After their appearance on Kitchen Nightmares, the owners decided to keep the new name of the Junction that Gorden gave to them, which was a nod to the railway line that runs through the town. Gorden revisited Flamingos in 2011 to find the restaurant thriving, with business doubled from before. Adele's attitude had improved, and Cherry was considering moving out of her parents' home. Staff reported Adele's improvement, with Brian no longer working there. Gorden enjoyed the food, including the Junction burger, meatloaf, and crab cake. Flamingos closed in April 2011 as Bill and Adele retired to Florida and Cheryl pursued a career as an interior designer. Yelp reviews post-filming were mostly positive, although some experiences were negative, citing long waits and overpriced food lacking flavor. The rail at Reddington replaced Flamingos, receiving mostly positive Yelp and TripAdvisor reviews. Cheryl moved out of her parents' house in March 2016. The episode aired on February 2, 2010, filmed in July 2009, part of Kitchen Nightmares Season 3, Episode 2. Now let's read some reviews for the Junction. We went to the Junction as it is just up the road after having seen it on Kitchen Nightmares. I was kinda hoping for a nightmare so I could look up from my plate with utter disgust and say, "My God," in a fake English accent. To my dismay, that was not the case. I was pleasantly surprised by my country fried chicken. The chicken was tender, and in a tasty white gravy with loose sausage in it. It also had a nice colorful presentation and overall had a nice spin on a classic dish. My friends were also happy with their meatloaf. To me, creative country/American classics should be a clear direction as it fits the area, the customer, as well as the decor of the building. It seems as though the menu grew and became a little unfocused again after Ramsay left, which I think is always a mistake for any restaurant. The staff was very nice and top of things. The building I found to be very nice, open, full of history and character that can't be found at Applebee's. On our way out we were wished a genuine good night by the owners, which speaks volumes about a restaurant. All in all, a good experience. Went there strictly because of Kitchen Nightmares and expected a bad experience and bad food. I got the complete opposite. The building is an old train station which you can tell has a lot of history. Decor is simple and classy. Our waitress was very nice and very professional. Ordered the fried pickles and meatloaf. Both were very good. Definitely wasn't your average meatloaf. Meatloaf was over homemade steak fries and topped with sautéed mushrooms. We went around 9:30 and there were still a couple tables occupied and the bar had a good crowd. We'll be going back. The Junction is a very nice family restaurant that is also very suitable for business travelers. What you get here is a small town restaurant that serves a mix of Tex-Mex dishes with American comfort food. I understand this show was featured on an episode of Gorden Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. That alone almost kept me from going there because usually, once he leaves, they go back to their old ways. I guess in terms of the decor, that was the case here. I thought that the decor was nice. It looked as though it might be somewhat of a fine dining establishment when I first went in, as one doesn't often see the quality of workmanship and experienced building materials in a place that specializes in fajitas and nachos. The food here was excellent. I will agree with the reviewer who said that they did tend to rely a little too heavily on sauces, which sometimes took the flavor away from the main ingredients such as the vegetables. The one dish I had to try was the meatloaf, which is one of the dishes that was featured on the show. It is very hard to do meatloaf wrong. The meatloaf was seasoned very well, wasn't too dry, although there was quite a bit of sauce/gravy on it, and was worth the money because it came with a tion of fresh vegetables in the sauce/gravy. The vegetables were cooked very well, crisp and not soggy. I also had the macaroni and cheese appetizer, which isn't cheap, but worth it because it had a very nice blend of hearty cheeses and could probably have been a meal on its own with a bowl of soup. The home-baked pumpkin and apple pie, yes. This is a layer of apple pie with a layer of pumpkin pie, is a weird concept but worked. I don't know that I would say this was my favorite dessert ever, but certainly something tasty to try as a variation. I was told all the desserts were baked on premises, and the freshness was certainly apparent, even if they were on the pricey side. The menu itself is fairly large. I am guessing the simplified menu from the show went by the wayside. It looks as though they made the menu into a Tex-Mex menu but left many of the staples from the show on it. So you get a bit of a hodgepodge. However, it is fairly easy to pick out what was from the show and what was not because you see salmon, meatloaf, scallops, and macaroni and cheese alongside nachos, fajitas, tacos, etc. While this might seem like a bit of an identity crisis, it was nice having the non-Mexican entrees to choose from. The owners of the restaurant are extremely nice people. It is a daughter and her parents who own and run the restaurant. We went on a weeknight when things were a little slow and felt as though I was having dinner with a family. What a nice bunch of people. I really hope the restaurant continues to do well because they couldn't have made us feel more welcome. After eating there, I watched the episode of the show on Hulu and they were all represented pretty accurately, it seemed. If you are looking for a small town restaurant with a family/folksy vibe and pretty good food, the Junction should be a stop when you are in the White House Station area. This is a rural part of New Jersey, so there isn't much out there, but I would easily drive 20 or 30 minutes from the next big town over to eat here if I was visiting the area. Thank you to the Junction for a very memorable meal. I will be back soon and hope to get the same warm welcome and the same great food. Although I think I will be trying the salmon next time because I've already tried the meatloaf and am not a huge fan of Mexican food. Too much sauce trying in vain to hide the poor quality ingredients. Gorden Ramsay should have burned more than the chairs. I don't understand what the first guy is looking for. When we heard Gorden Ramsay had come to change the old Flamingos, we had to give the Junction a try. Afterward, my family and I overate since the food was that good. We left with overly full bellies. The 3-cheese mac and cheese bake is to die for. It's a perfect balance of cheese, while onions and ham only add to the flavor, and it was surprisingly light. My dad's prime rib was cooked perfectly as well as my brother's burger. My mom's chicken was also very good. Didn't have a lot of room for dessert, but we had to try the red velvet cake and the chocolate lava cake, which were also very good. The service was up to par with the food and was everything you would want from a restaurant staff. The atmosphere was right up there too. We'll definitely be going back. Now subscribe and check out some of my other videos.